What's up everyone, Trent here, welcome to the Fandom Zone, and Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn is in cinemas now, directed by Cathy Yan. It had a lot of shoes to fill for me personally because I love the Birds of Prey. Black Canary and Harley Quinn are my favourite characters despite Harley never being a member of the Birds, and I've got to say I had a lot of fun in this movie. Whilst it's not the most perfect movie on the world, it was a wild, crazy, wacky ride, and if you are a Harley Quinn fan, particularly of Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor's run in the New 52 and the Rebirth run currently, this is going to be a movie that you really enjoy. It is basically taking that Harley from the comics and putting her on the silver screen with the Birds of Prey in tow. Thank God the birds are finally getting a feature-length appearance. Now the story will see Harley emancipated and free from Mr. J. She's no longer under the thumb of her puddin' and she's out in the world. Unfortunately, she's pissed off a hell of a lot of people in the world and they all start gunning for her, including Ewan McGregor's Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask. And we see throughout the movie, we are introduced to the various Birds characters, and there's a particular item of interest that Roman is after that has been put into the hands of a little pickpocket called Cassandra Cain. So that is the main bulk of the plot without giving away too much. It is a wild and wacky ride, and what really stands out about this movie is the actual characters themselves. Margot Robbie is excellent as Harley. She has owned the role, she continues to own it, she's having a lot of fun, she did a lot of action sequences, wacky, zany, crazy, colourful, everything. You can tell that she really appreciates and understands the character. She does some great changes between her, wacky, whacked out, you never know what she's going to do role, and then in the click of her finger, she's psychoanalyzing a person using her psychological degree. So, really interesting take on Harley. Does it get a little bit too much for a 2-hour movie? Yes, it does, and I've said this about Harley in the comics. Oversaturation can take you out of the movie. But when she was on her own, she stood out. When she was mixed with the other birds and other characters, they stole the scenes from her, which is actually a really good thing to happen because it didn't show one character taking the screen time away from another. Janice Smollett-Bell, amazing as Black Canary. I want a solo movie with her and Green Arrow right now. She killed it, absolutely fucking killed it, and had a lot of kick-ass scenes. Same with Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress. She was fantastic. She was a little bit of the butt of the jokes because she came into the movie quite late and didn't get enough time to shine, but what we saw, she kicked a lot of ass and was overly violent. But the star of the movie, by far, hands down, was Ewan McGregor as Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask. He was maniacal, psycho, crazy, manipulative, abusive, everything. He was a villain that we really haven't seen much before in superhero movies. Like, you hated him. And there was one really intense part of the movie where you wonder where it's going to go with his character and what he's going to do to this particular person. Like, he is violent. He is a sick man, but he's also very controlling. And this particular scene in the club, it also plays off Journey's character really well. He's just brutal, and you just want him to get his comeuppance. So he did a great job, and he stole every single scene that he was in. As did Chris Messina as Victor Zsasz, Black Mask's right-hand man. Had a creepy take on Zsasz that we've not really seen before, even though he had his little 90s debut look with the bleach blonde hair. It was very, very creepy and eerie. Like, he's a psycho. He wants to kill people, and we see the scars all over his body. Great job by Chris Messina. I have to say the cast did a fantastic job with what they were given. The plot for me was quite interesting. It didn't feel like it had much depth to it, but some of the choices that they make to introduce the characters and the way that they had non-linear storytelling, Cathy Yan really paid attention to things that connected and learnt from the mistakes of David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Like, we had very Suicide Squad-esque introductions for various characters. It was bright and, over-the-top neo lighting and such. But it made it fun, it made it vibrant, and it learnt from the mistakes of Suicide Squad. It didn't just do it at the start, it did it throughout. And it kept you engaged, it kept you interested. The colours were vibrant and everything. And the non-linear plot, it allowed for Harley's characterization to shine through, where, she's breaking the fourth wall like Deadpool, which is something that she's picked up in more recent years. And we see that she's the narrator of the story. So, whilst normally she would be an unreliable narrator, given her, psychological profile, it adds to the fun of it because it's like, this is my story, but I'm going to tell you about this character anyway. And then we introduce to Black Canary, we're introduced to other characters, and it's done in a really clever way that kind of would, if they weren't there, the plot would be quite dull if it was linear. But by going back and exploring different things that happen at different time periods that lead up to a certain event, it made it a lot more interesting, and I really enjoyed that. What really added to the movie were the action sequences mixed with the awesome soundtrack. The soundtrack was a rock fest. It drove the action sequences. It added so much more entertainment, and it made them so much more engaging. And they were a lot of fun. Like, there was one fight scene that takes place in Amusement Mile in the Booby Trap, which is just this crazy fun house, and all these fights are happening in this particular location. So we got to see a lot of dynamic movement and a lot of things that you wouldn't normally see in a superhero movie, and it's a lot of fun. Now, the costuming was bright, vibrant, colorful, lots of costume changes for all the characters. So if you've seen something you didn't like in part of the trailer, there's going to be something else that comes along and that'll probably change your mind. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and particularly at the end where we start to get a lot more of the characters in their fighting scenes. Like, there's one point where Harley actually changes her shoes, and Canary's like, when did she have time to change her shoes? It's a lot of fun. They're not taking it too seriously, and that's what a Harley Quinn movie is essentially going to be. Don't go in thinking it's a Birds of Prey movie, because this is definitely a Harley movie, and it's got all that Harley hijinks. But what this movie does a lot, it shows that Birds of Prey need their own solo movie. This is a team where the women kick a lot of ass, they have a lot of fun doing it, and in turn the cast have a lot of fun doing it as well. I had a lot of fun watching it. Some of the jokes are very hit and miss. As I said, Harley can take too much screen time and can take you away. There's a bit of a lull at around the halfway point of the movie where it's just kind of focusing on Harley and Cassie in her apartment, and it kind of slows up the pace. But then after that, the final act, it feels like there's a complete tonal change. It goes a lot darker, a lot grittier, a lot moodier, and it makes for a really fun confrontation at the end. So it is a crazy, vibrant, wacky ride. But if you go in dropping all your expectations on what the comic book counterpart should be, I mean, most of the key features are there, especially Huntress's backstory. It really will make you enjoy the movie a lot more, instead of saying, oh, it needs to have Barbara Gordon, it needs to have her in a wheelchair as Oracle. Why is Harley with the birds? Why is Renee Montoya with the birds? If you go in and leave those at the door, you are going to have a lot more fun. I'm going to give Birds of Prey featuring Harley Quinn 8 out of 10. I had a lot of fun. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to, but it is an entertaining and highly energetic superhero movie, and that's something that DC have been doing quite well with the expanded universe now. They've been doing a lot of fun movies that have a lot of superhero elements and are exploring key elements of the characters. Who doesn't love that? Who doesn't want more Birds of Prey in their lives? You got to. Anyway, tell me your thoughts on the movie in the comments below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? Why not? Love hearing your thoughts, and as always, keep it nerdy.